So sometimes it did mean I ended up eating noodles for breakfast, lunch and dinner. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Veronia, and if you didn't know already, this channel is all about money, your career and creating success through a positive mindset. So in my last two videos, I spoke about something that I think is really important and that everyone should have. I'm now going to end up saying the B word, which I know people don't like, but I'm going to say it anyway. Budget. You need a budget. Basically, it's the same thing. You need to be budgeting. You need to be cutting costs where possible. This is especially critical if you may have lost your job or you may be furloughed and you have a reduction in your income. And if you haven't actually watched any of those videos, I will put a link in the description below. So I decided in this video I will actually help you create a budget, and I'm going to be talking about 3 approaches that you can use. There are a lot of different budgeting techniques, so you probably want to try different ones and see which one works well for you, but I'm hoping the 3 that I give you today may give you some guidance. So the first one I want to talk about is the 80-20 rule, and that is kind of linked to the Pareto law, which basically in budgeting terms means that once you have your income for the month, 20% will probably either go to savings or debt payoff, and the remaining 80% will go towards your other spending costs. Now, I do like this approach because it can be viewed as really simplistic, and especially if you are a beginner, simple is usually better. However, I would suggest that you probably want a bit more clarification on how you actually budget that remaining 80%, so it can also have its flaws as well. So with the 80-20 rule, as an example, if you had a take-home pay of about £2,000 every single month, you would ideally allocate £400, which is 20% of that, to your savings or debt to pay off, and then the remaining £1,600 you would spend it on anything else. The second approach I wanted to talk about was the 50-30-20 rule, and it's very similar to the first approach, but what it's basically saying is once you have your income for the month, 50% of that should be going towards your essential costs. So that will most likely include your housing costs, your food, your transport. It may also include any payments as well. Again, it depends on where you want to put that. There are experts that do suggest your housing costs shouldn't be exceeding over 30% of your take-home pay, although it may or may not include utilities. It just kind of depends on how conservative you want to be. Once you've got your essential costs out of the way, the other 30% will be used for discretionary spending, and I like to call that your blow money. This is where you can spend that 30% on anything that you like. So it could be eating out, it could be the cinema, it could be subscriptions like Netflix. It's totally up to you, and you have free reign to spend it all. Then the remaining 20% is actually used for savings, or it could be used for paying off debt as well. There is one note: if you do have any high interest debt, so for example like credit card debt, it is suggested that you pay that off really quickly. Usually experts would actually suggest that you swap those percentages around so that you're actually using 30% to pay off your debt and 20% as your discretionary spending, and then once you've paid off that high interest debt, then you can swap it back around. I do really like this approach because I think it gives you more clarification and more guidance than the other approach. Especially if you're a beginner, you definitely need that. So with the 50-30-20 rule, again, if you have £2,000 as your take-home pay, you would initially spend £1,000 on your essential costs, you would then spend £600 on your discretionary costs, and then your £400 would be used for saving or debt payoff. Again, if you have high interest debt, then you would be using that £600 to pay that debt off first. The third approach that I want to talk to you about is actually called the zero-based budget, and this is exactly what I use. Essentially what it means is that your income minus your expenses will come to zero. So every single penny that you have should be allocated to something, and it should have a job. I do really like this approach because it means that I can actually dictate how much I save and what goes where, and I'm also able to shift and swap when needed. So before I actually go through how I use a zero-based budget, I thought I would take you through my journey because it has been a long journey, and if you remember from my first video, you would know that I used to spend every single penny that I made. I could say that I was based on a zero-based budget, but that was mainly because by the time it got to the end of the month, my account was usually on zero. Before I even started budgeting, I knew that I really needed to take control of my money, so I started reading a lot of books, and I came across one book which really helped with budgeting techniques, and that book was called The Meaningful Money Handbook by Pete Matthew. I will put a link in the description below because I do genuinely think it's a really good book, and the author is actually UK based, so it does help if you are based in the UK. One part of the book that I really enjoyed was the idea of actually splitting your main account into two different accounts. So the book actually suggested that you should have one account for your bills and one account for your spending. I actually did have two accounts. One of them I used for my income, and all my bills and all my spending came out of that, and the other was my overdraft. So I technically shouldn't have really had that second account. So I did decide to use this method, and I actually ended up getting 3 different accounts instead. I had one for my bills, and that's where my income initially came through. The second one, I actually had a savings account, and the third one was my spending account. So with my bills account, I listed all of my bills where I knew I had certain direct debits and standing orders, so I knew exactly what was going out every single month, and I was able to put enough money into that account and leave it there. The rest of that money I either put into my savings, which I had a separate online savings account, and it was actually separate from my bank, and then the third one was my spending account. I am going to be doing a separate video on how I actually save my money as well, so make sure you look out for that and subscribe in the meantime. So the third one, with my spending account, I used Monzo, and that was because I really like the idea of being able to actually budget and put my spending into different categories, and I could also track how I spend each time as well. So with my Monzo account, that is where I budgeted everything else in terms of my discretionary spending. So that would include things like eating out, any forms of entertainment like the cinema or mini golf, for example. I also included groceries as well, and I will tell you later why I included groceries. Any other travel expenses that might not be linked to my work. Also any toiletries or clothes that I might be buying as well. Separate to that, I actually had a pennies jar as well. So with Monzo, what I really like is that every single time you spend your money, you are actually able to round that to the nearest pound, and it will put it in a small pot. And as you start to spend, you will start to see that pot growing even more. So I decided that I would actually use that as a mini emergency fund, because it meant that I wouldn't need to dip into my savings if I ended up running out of money. However, there were 2 rules that I had with my spending account. The first one was that if I ever overspent in one area, it meant that I would have to compensate in another area. So as an example, if I budgeted myself £100 for eating out, and I ended up overspending by about £20, I would have to compensate in another area. Usually I would include groceries in that, so it would mean that I would have to take £20 off my groceries budget. So sometimes it did mean I ended up eating noodles for breakfast, lunch and dinner. The second rule was that if I did actually end up overspending even more and I would have to dip into my pennies pot, I would actually have to pay that back the following month. So rather than borrowing from a credit card or an overdraft, I at least had a pennies pot, which I knew I didn't have to pay any interest on. However, I did have to pay that back the next month. It did mean that I had less to spend, but it started building really good habits, and also it meant that I didn't have to pay interest as well. So once I've budgeted my bills, my spending and my savings account, I will usually do a net worth statement at the end of every single month. So what that essentially means is that I would list my assets and then my liabilities, and that would equal my net worth. In terms of assets, that would include anything like your savings, if you maybe have a stocks and shares ISA, for example, or if you've got an emergency fund stashed somewhere. I didn't actually include anything long term like student loan, pensions or mortgages, because I do think it can be a bit more complicated, so I really wanted to focus more on any short-term assets or liabilities. And liabilities were usually based on consumer debt, so for example, if you've got any car loans, if you've got any credit card debt, and if you have got any personal loans as well, that would be included. So once I've got my net worth statement, I would usually track that along with my budget just to see how I am doing and whether actually my budgeting has been able to help me increase my net worth. So that is essentially how I budget. I'm not gonna lie, it probably took me a couple of months just to get the hang of it, but once you start doing it every single month, it does get easier. When I actually completed my first budget, it probably took me a couple of hours, so don't be surprised if it does take a while, but it is worth it in the end. The one tip I would give you, especially if you are a beginner and you're not used to budgeting, really try and use your previous bank statements as an example and try and take an average, and this will help when you're trying to allocate your your spending towards different categories. So guys, if you did really enjoy this video, please do give me a thumbs up. Once again, I post every single Friday, so please do subscribe to my channel if you are interested in learning more, and I will see you next Friday.